let's talk about the paradox of the active user in UX design using a bunch of balloons. So the paradox of the active user states that users never really read manuals but just get their hands dirty, start using the software immediately, almost all of the times. And I realized that this was a very concerning UX concept when I made this balloon monkey and this tree, and then I had plans for the monkey to climb this tree. Now what I realized is no matter what manual you provide in front of the users, when your user want to start playing with your actual objects, they're really not going to bother reading your paperwork. They're going to cast it aside, and the only thing that's going to matter is what your real object functions as, what your real function looks like. Sometimes people like to superimpose their manuals in front of users, and what ends up happening is when your users are getting onboarded, they don't bother reading about whatever your new manual states, and all that happens is your entire manual gets cast off aside, shredded into little pieces, and throwing your manuals in front of users' faces is just destroying the entirety of the user experience, because people don't want to read manuals anyways, especially when they're just getting started. What's often a better idea is to make the user experience, make the elements inside of your product so intuitive that users don't need any manuals to be able to start using them. When I made the hands and the feet of this monkey intuitive enough to know that an actual tree could pass through those, my users didn't even need manuals to begin with. As soon as putting these in became an intuitive experience, all that everyone wanted to do was to get the monkey to climb the tree. My point is, people like to get their hands dirty with the product that they're actually making. If you give them a large manual with a bunch of different silly little instructions, it's almost always going to be thrown away. A better approach is to make your user experience, to make the actual elements inside of your product interactive enough that either an explanation of a complicated sort isn't required in most cases, or when it is, it's usually simple enough to be able to tell with the user's own eyes. It's not that you're going to run out of manuals or guides to create. Truth of the matter is, it's never going to be that. Like, you'll always have the time and energy to invent a manual, to invent an explanation of this fancy new product that you've made. It's almost always going to be that the paradox of the active user, which states that users want to get their hands dirty with whatever product they're using instead of reading manuals, is going to take precedence first. People are going to almost always want to get their hands dirty first, and at the end of the day, no one is going to care about your silly little manual that was a little too complicated to be understood because you as the designer left your product at the mercy of this manual. Your product is the thing that suffered. Often the best thing you can do for your user is to create experiences so intuitively fun and interactive that the only choice that they have is to play around with whatever they're working with on their own, find new and exciting ways to experience the products that we make as UI UX designers. This has been the paradox of the active user in UX design. I hope you liked this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Make sure to follow along, subscribe for more, and leave a like down below.